So it's that time of the year, so spooky season is upon us. For me, spooky season is, from September until the end of November, so it's lasting 3 months instead of just October, because here in Canada, actually, it's already starting to get a bit colder, and we're just in August, so yeah. So I've got a bunch of books that I want to read during the spooky season. I only have one book scheduled. All the other books are not really scheduled because I'm going to randomly pick a book. So what's going to happen, so I'm going to start with that first book. I'll be talking a little bit more about the first book, and then afterwards I'm just going to randomly pick the next book that I'm going to read for the week after, and so on and so forth. And so I don't want to plan too much ahead. I just have this list of books that I want to read. I've already written all the book titles on small pieces of paper. I'm going to put them in a bowl or something, a bowl or something, and I'm just going to randomly pick a book. So on with the list. So first book that I'm going to read is actually the first book that I've ever reviewed in this channel was an Ed and Lorraine Warren book, Satan's Harvest. I really hated that book. Since I started this channel, I only hated one book, truly hated a book. It happened to me only once during the lifetime of this channel, so since last year, and that's the only book that I really hated, actually. That being said, though, I still want to read another story that has both these characters involved. I'm saying characters that were real people, actually, but I just want to see one of their mission once again, just because Satan's Harvest was such a letdown. I hope that one of their story is good, and it kind of makes sense to start the next year. So I've been doing this for a year, so in September will mark the 1 year anniversary of this channel, so it kind of makes sense that the first book of spooky season that I review is an Ed and Lorraine book. So that being said, the first book that I'm going to read is The Demonologist, which is a story of Ed and Lorraine Warren, sorry. So I can't wait to read that. Maybe I'll like this one. I don't know. I hope so. And on with my to-be read list. So as I said, all these books are not in any particular order, mainly because I'm going to randomly pick these books. So on with my TBR list, actually. So I have Nightmare Alley by William Lindsay Graham. I know there's a Guillermo del Toro movie out there. I want to watch the movie after I've read this story, so I might do 2 videos for this story, one for the book and one for the movie. Then I have Cunning Folk by Adam L.G. Nevill. I've watched The Ritual. I've not read The Ritual. I really enjoyed the movie, so I can't wait to read that book. I think it's folk horror once again. I can't wait to read that, actually. Then we have The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. I've already read that book, but in French. So this is a thing that I want to do, actually, not necessarily right now or in the next year. That's kind of a goal that I have, to read books in English that I've already read, like the translation of it in French, just to kind of compare it, because sometimes when you read something that has been translated, you've lost some elements here and there, so I just want to do that. So The Exorcist is one of the first book that I've ever read, first horror book, I should have said, because I've read, children books when I was younger, but this is one of the first horror book that I've ever read, so I can't wait to read that in English and kind of see how it compares with the translation that I've read, once again. So then we have Harvest Home by Thomas Tyron. I know his biggest book is The Other, but I still want to read that one, mainly because of the folk horror theme that I've been told that it has in this book, so I can wait to read that also. Then we have Elizabeth Hand, Haunting on the Hill. So this book is only coming in October. So that being said, the piece of paper that has the book title written on it is not going to be part of the ball that I'll have until, you know, the book really comes out, because I don't want to, you know, randomly pick it and it's not out yet or anything or something like this. Then we have Moonchild by Kenneth McKenney. So this was part of the Paperbacks from Hell by Grady Hendrix. So, you know, I've picked some books here and there from his recommendation. This is one of them. I don't know much about the book, and that's kind of my way to go into a book, not really knowing what's to expect from it. So usually I don't really read, you know, the back cover or anything like this. I just go into the book without knowing much. That being said, I have this weird habit. I made a video about that, where I read the last page of the book, but that's just, you know, when I do pick up the book and go on and reading the book. So you know, it doesn't spoil really the story for me, weirdly, actually. Then we have another book that was part of the Paperbacks from Hell recommendation, which is Fever Dream by George R.R. Martin. I'm not a huge fan of fantasy. If you've watched other videos by me, you kind of already know that. But I really enjoyed Game of Thrones, so the TV shows, not the last season, that being said. But I really enjoyed Game of Thrones, the TV shows. But I also really loved, you know, first season of House of the Dragons. So both these things I really enjoyed. The only thing that I didn't really like was the whole family aspect, but that's for another video entirely. But that being said, I can't wait to read what Mr. Martin has in store in horror. Then we have Dead End House by Bryan Smith. This is a more extreme horror, I think. I'm not quite familiar with extreme horror. This is going to be my first book into that genre, actually, so I don't really know much about it, just that it's gruesome. So yeah, can't wait to read that, actually. Then we have a French book, so Le Fantôme de l'Opéra by Gaston Leroux. I'm going to read that book in French because I'm French, so I don't want to read a translation. For those of you out there who's saying that this is not a horror story, the book is really gothic horror. It's not a scary book, but it has all these gothic horror elements within it. I've never watched any movie, so I've never watched any movie adaptation of the Phantom of the Opera. I don't know, maybe I'll watch one or two after I've read the book. Then we have House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. I have attempted to read that book 3 times already. I've got nothing against the book. It's just something bad happened while I was reading it. And every time I do pick this book back, I always have this bad thing that happened way back when, you know, 4 years ago, and always struggle to finish the book just because of that. I'm always kind of reminded of that time period. I might talk a bit more about this when I do read the book. I hope that the 4th time I'll be able to finish it and just get over it, actually. So it's been 4 years, so we don't know. We'll see how that goes, actually. Then we have Magic Cottage by James Herbert. So this is going to be the 4th book that I read from James Herbert. I'm really liking this author. I'm enjoying all the books that I've read from him, actually. Can't wait to read that one. I've been told that it's really good, actually. And then lastly, we have The Auctioneer by Joan Samson. This is another recommendation from the Paperbacks from Hell by Grady Hendrix. I can't wait to read that one also. I don't know much about it, just that it was recommended, you know, for the Paperbacks from Hell once again. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it.